Okay, criminology. So this is lecture 14. This is on property crimes. So I'm not going to waste any time. I can share my screen with you guys. Okay. So once again, this is part of a two-part lecture for this week. We just went over chapter 12, which was on violent crimes. This one is on specifically property crimes. Excuse me. And Marie will start. As usual, you can find the learning objectives for the specific lecture, in chapter 14, right at the beginning of chapter 14, but you can also find it in our Blackboard course website if you just go to the corresponding week module, okay? So this week, or for this specific chapter, there are a few. I'm going to go over them. I might as well just go over them every single time. But the learning objectives, what Walsh and Jorgensen want you guys to get out of this week is to be able to explain why, even though property crimes are less sexy than other types of crime, they constitute the majority of crime committed in the United States. 2, they want us to understand the FBI's definition of larceny theft. They want us to be able to describe the difference between simple burglary and home invasion. They want us to describe the difference between simple motor vehicle theft and carjacking. They want us to be able to discuss the difficulties involved in determining if a fire was intentionally started. And they also want us to explain the differences between embezzlement, fraud, and forgery/counterfeiting. Sound good? So this lecture might be slightly longer than the others, but please bear with me, okay? So let's begin. So what is property offense? Okay. Property crimes either involve the illegal acquisition of someone else's property or the malicious destruction of property. They constitute the vast majority of crimes, and most people have committed or willingly committed a property offense of some kind, such as, ciphering items from work or shoplifting, etc. Property crimes involve everything from teens vandalizing someone's mailbox to sophisticated gangs stealing property worth millions from a museum or from someone's mansion. Okay. This figure is taken from chapter 14. You can find this specific figure on page, bear with me, on page 267 in your textbook. It is a figure of a 5-year trend in the US property crimes from 2013 to 2017. Again, I am using the 3rd edition. However, I also do have the 4th edition, which is the figure depicted here on the blackboard on the lecture. Okay, so with your figure in your textbook that you should have, it is a 5-year trend in the US from the years 2010 to 2014. Once again, I am depicting the most current and up-to-date that we have. In your textbook, okay, figure 14.1 is going to show property crime trends in the US over the years from 2010 again to 2014. Property crime has dropped dramatically over that time. Property crimes have also continued to drop within our current, this figure, within the current up-to-date data that we have, by more than 1 million reported cases. Okay, this is probably mostly attributed to an increasingly sophisticated security measures that people all around are taking. Okay, what kind of security measures are you taking in your home with your property or your job is taking, etc.? Most homes nowadays, at least in my community, most of us have cameras of some sort on our house, okay? And it's not, I don't live in the most upscale neighborhood, but things are affordable now. Things are within our price ranges. We can afford the door ring camera, the back porch camera, the cameras around the house, discreet, some things that people can't see, etc. Okay, so this is most likely what is causing, not causing, but this is most likely what is correlated to the downward trends of property crime. Pause here, take a look at this figure. Also, this figure is on page 267 in your textbook. Pause and make sure you can kind of see this downward trend. Of course, we can see it, but make sure you can interpret this data. Okay. Going on to larceny and theft. Larceny theft is defined as the unlawful taking, leading, or riding away from the possession or constructive possession of another. The definition was enlarged to include taking by fraud or false pretenses, as well as by stealth and force. Okay, it covers most types of theft that do not include the use of threats or force. Felonies and misdemeanors are distinguished based on the value of the assets stolen at the time of the crime. Larceny theft is subclassified into shoplifting, pocket picking, purse snatching, thefts from motor vehicles, theft of motor parts and accessories, thefts of bicycles, thefts from buildings, etc. Okay. Shoplifting is theft of goods exposed for sale by a person other than an employee in a store, and is most studied. It's also the most studied subcategory of larceny/theft. Okay. Larceny theft includes grand theft, which is a felony, and petty theft, which is a misdemeanor. Okay. With the distinction depending on the value of the asset that is specifically stolen. It's distinguished based on the value of the asset stolen, again, at the time of the crime. Okay. The FBI provides the following overview of larceny theft. Okay. In 2017, there were an estimated 5,519,107 larceny thefts nationwide. The number of larceny theft declined by 2.2% when compared with the 2016 estimate. The number decreased by 8.3% when compared with the 2013 estimate, and it declined by 16.2% when compared with the 2008 estimate. Okay. The estimated larceny thefts in 2017 was 1,694.4 per 100,000 inhabitants. From 2016 to 2017, the rate of estimated larceny thefts declines 2.9%. From 2008 to 2017, the rate decreased to 21.8%. Okay. Larceny thefts accounted for an estimated 71.7% of property crimes in specifically 2017. The average value of property taken during larceny theft was $1,007 per offense. When the average value is applied to the estimated number of larceny thefts, the loss to victims nationally was an estimated $5.6 billion. Thefts from motor vehicles accounted for 26.8% of all larceny thefts in 2017. Okay. Of those arrested for larceny theft in 2017, 58.7% of those were males,
Whites were 67.7% of larceny theft arrests in 2017. Blacks were 29.1% of those. And other races accounted for about 3.2%. This is all taken from the FBI.gov. Okay. Shoplifting is, again, the theft of goods exposed for sale by a person other than an employee in a store, and it's also the most studied subcategory of larceny theft. According to the National Association of Shoplifting Prevention, NASP, there are more than 500,000 incidents of shoplifting every day in the United States, resulting in a loss of $13 billion worth of goods. It costs the average American family about $450 per year in increased prices imposed to cover the industry's losses. Shoplifting, in effect, is larceny committed against all of us. So don't just think that larceny and theft is just an individual, their problem, but it affects us. It affects our pockets, our income, what we spend. Okay. They argue that a big part of the reward for engaging in those types of crime, engaging in larceny and theft, so they argue that a big part of the reward for engaging in those crimes comes from the sheer thrill of getting away with something in the face of the possibility that one could get caught, and point out that there is little economic gain from most shoplifting offenses. Okay. Repetitive impulsive stealing for the thrill of stealing and getting away with it is called kleptomania, as we all know. It's Greek for stealing madness. This psychiatric label may be nothing more than an upscale technique of neutralization applied to affluent offenders to excuse their behavior and/or mitigate their punishment. Okay. Regardless of any skepticism one might have about the psychiatric label, there is a self-help organization similar to Alcoholics Anonymous, AA, called Kleptomaniacs and Shoplifters Anonymous, CASA, for the acronym is CASA, designed to treat what CASA prefers to call addictive compulsive shoplifting. Okay. A common theme for people who engage in nonsensical shoplifting is that they are often depressed and have other compulsive addictions. So that's a common theme that we find across these individuals. Okay. This figure is taken from page 264 in your textbook. This is figure 14.2. This shows the percentage distribution of larceny theft offenses in 2017. A simple pie chart, so please pause here and take a view of this. Again, your pie chart is going to look different than the 2017. Yours is actually the 2014, but you can find it again on page 268. So pause here. Our next section goes into a discussion of burglary, okay? Let's get into it. Burglary is the unlawful entry of a structure to commit a felony or theft. The definition has evolved to include any unlawful entry, entry without right or permission, and thus a forceful entry, so breaking and entering, is no longer a necessary element of burglary. It is considered a very serious offense because of the importance attached to the sanctity of the home. Residential burglary is one of the most traumatic crimes victims can experience, generating feelings of anger and fear and a profound sense of invasion of privacy and vulnerability, in addition to financial losses that may occur. Burglary statutes are hodgepodge of laws covering a variety of conduct. The unlawful entry element enables some states to define shoplifting as burglary if it can be shown that the suspect entered a store with the intention of stealing, thereby making it an unlawful entry. Okay. So the FBI overviews of burglary in 2017. I'm going to throw out some stats for you right now. Okay. So again, going over the FBI's overview of burglary in 2017. In 2017, there were an estimated 1,401,840 burglaries, a decrease of 7.6% when compared to the 2006 data. The number of burglaries decreased by 27.4% when compared with the 2013 data, and was down 37.1% when compared to the 2008 estimate. Burglaries accounted for 18.2% of the estimated number of property crimes that occurred during that time. By subcategory, 57.5% of burglaries involved forcible entry, 36.2% were unlawful entries, and 6.3% were attempted forcible entries. Victims of burglary offenses suffered an estimated $3.4 billion in property losses in 2017. The average dollar loss per burglary offense was $2,416. Burglaries of residential properties accounted for 67.2% of all burglary offenses. Okay. And lastly, of those arrested for burglary in 2017, 81.8% of those were male. Whites were 67.5%, blacks were 29.8%, and the remaining 3.7% were of other races. Again, all of this is taken from FBI statistics, FBI.gov. They are accessible to you. Okay, and for those of you who have the clickable online textbook, you can also click onto these stats yourselves. Okay. So Samaha in 1993 lists a variety of offending scenarios for which offenders have been charged and convicted of burglary. These included shoplifting, pumping gas and leaving without paying, stealing a case of cigarettes from an open trunk, stealing popcorn from sidewalk stands, and stealing a few coins from a pay telephone. Home invasion, okay, another type of property crime. Home invasion is a type of breaking and entering into a residential home in which the express purpose is to catch occupants at home so criminals can rob, rape, or assault the occupant as well as steal their property. Perpetrators typically work as teams so they can quickly overcome any opposition and often pose as maintenance workers or delivery men when attempting to invade these homes. Okay. This is figure 14.3. You can find this specific figure. Give me just one moment. You can find this specific figure. Home invasion. You can find this specific figure. Pardon. Ooh. This is a new figure. This one isn't actually. Yeah, this one isn't actually in your, it is. Okay, so this figure is in your textbook. Again, this is the updated textbook that you see on this PowerPoint slide. So in your textbook, this is actually figure 14.1. Okay, so this is just highlights from home invasions reported from 2003 to 2007. Okay, it's the same figure in both textbooks. Okay, so just take a couple of moments to read through some of these highlights in regards to home invasions that occurred between these years. And then move on. Okay. Burglars and their motives. Okay. Wright and Decker's studies showed that burglars preferred this specific type of crime, okay, because it offers the greatest chance of success and reward with the least amount of risk. Demographically, burglars come from poor, rundown, and socially disorganized neighborhoods rife with unemployment. Unemployment is high from where these burglars are coming from, okay? Their act was consistent with Walter Miller's focal concern concept, so a sense of toughness and masculine independence, fate, excitement, autonomy, and smartness. Burglars are the most likely of all criminals to be convicted, about 76%, within 2 years of being released from prison, as they constantly need money quickly to finance their lifestyle. So there is a high rate of reconviction. Going into burglary and gender. Although burglary is primarily a male crime, females can also commit burglary, okay? Females overwhelmingly commit burglaries in mixed gendered teens. It follows that they share most of the demographic characteristics of their male counterparts. And then choosing burglary targets, okay? Like the number four most important consideration in target selections are target exposure, guardianship, target attractiveness, and proximity. Target exposure refers to the visibility and accessibility of a home. So for instance, isolation from other homes and easy access via side back doors, windows, etc. Guardianship refers to how well the home is protected, whether or not the home is protected. Target attractiveness refers to the signs that there should be like a rich pickings, etc. Proximity refers to the distance between the target's home and the burglar's home or to potential sources of loot disposal, such as pawn shops. Okay. Disposing of the loot. Okay. Burglars turn to a variety of sources to dispose of the loot, including the use of fences. Okay. A fence is a person who regularly buys stolen property and who often has a legitimate business to cover those types of illegal activities. One method is a pawn shop. Okay, but this is not a very popular outlet for most burglars because pawnbrokers must ask for identification, take pictures of people selling the items to them, and these people may possess hot sheets of stolen goods. Okay, a more popular outlet was the drug dealer because it entails a strict drug for merchandise deal without involving any middlemen. Okay. Others regularly sold to relatives, friends, and acquaintances because few people can resist buying merchandise below, fire sale prices. Let's get into motor vehicle theft, okay? Motor vehicle theft, MV, is simply the theft or attempted theft of a motor vehicle. That is any motorized land vehicle such as motorcycles, buses, automobiles, trucks, and snowmobiles. Let's go into a little bit of the FBI's overview of motor vehicle theft in 2017. And I'm going to throw some stats out to you quickly. There were an estimated 773,139 thefts of motor vehicles nationwide in specifically 2017. The estimated rate of motor vehicle theft was 237.4 per 100,000 inhabitants. The estimated number of motor vehicle thefts increased by 0.8% in 2017 when compared with the 2016 estimate, and rose 10.4% when compared with the 2013 estimates, but then dropped 19.4% when compared with the 2008 estimate. Nearly $6 billion was lost nationwide to motor vehicle theft in 2017. The average dollar lost per stolen vehicle was $7,708. In 2017, of all motor vehicles stolen, 75.4 were automobiles. Okay, of those arrested for motor vehicle theft, 77.4 of those were males. Whites were 66%, blacks were 30.3%, and other races 3.7%. The common theme among criminals is the general disdain of legitimate employment and the unending pursuit of their self-indulging lifestyles is the reasons why they committed these motor vehicle thefts. Carjacking, so motor vehicle theft with an attitude. Carjacking is the theft or an attempted theft of a motor vehicle from its occupant by force or threat of force. It involves multiple crimes for which the offender may be charged, including robbery, assault, and motor vehicle theft. Interviews with active carjackers find that they are more like street robbers in their demographics, motivations, and lifestyles than they are like professional car thieves. Carjacking is most likely to occur in the following places and situations. So for instance, high crime areas, less traveled roads, intersections where you must be stopped, isolated areas and parking lots, residential driveways and gates, and traffic jams or congested areas. Common methods, so common methodology. Common methods include bumping the victim's vehicle from behind, so the bump. The attacker staging an accident, so the Good Samaritan. The attacker indicating a problem with the victim's car, so the ruse. And the attacker blocking the victim's car in their garage or their driveway, so the trap. Let's look into arson, okay? Arson is any willful or malicious burning or attempting to burn with or without intent to defraud a dwelling house, public building, a motor vehicle, an aircraft, personal property, or another. The FBI provides the following overview of arson in the United States in 2017. Again, I'm going to give you guys some stats and some data. In 2017, law enforcement agencies providing from 1 to 12 months of arson data reported 41,171 arsons in 2017. Participating agencies provided expanding offense data regarding 38,764 arsons. 45% of all arson offenses involve structures. So these were like residential, storage, public areas. Mobile property was involved in 24.5% of arsons, and other types of property, so such as crops, timber, and fences, accounted for 30.5% of the reported arsons. The average dollar loss per arson was $15,573. Arsons of industrial/manufacturing structures resulted in the highest average dollar loss, an average of about $54,517. Arson offenses decreased 1.7% in 2017 when compared with arson data reported in 2016. Nationwide, there were 13.3 arson offenses for every 100,000 inhabitants. Of those arrested for arson in 2017, 81.4 of those people were males, 71.3 were white, 25.2 were Black, and the remaining were 3.5 were other races. Okay. Motivations behind the crime of arson can be financial gain, revenge, intimidation, or can be due to expressive motivation, so like thrills, excitement. Arsonists have a higher level of antisocial behavior, such as hostility and impulsiveness, and lower levels of sociability and assertiveness. Crimes of guile and deceit, so embezzlement, fraud, and forgery/counterfeiting. The Universal Crime Report lists 3 Part 2 property crimes. So embezzlement, fraud, forgery/counterfeiting are committed by a demographically broader range of people than we see committing such crimes as burglary and motor vehicle theft. Some criminologists consider these crimes to be white-collar crimes. Embezzlement is the unlawful misappropriation or misapplication of money or property entrusted to the embezzler's care, custody, or control. Embezzlement is the rarest of property crimes, with only 12,437 cases reported in the Universal Crime Report in 2016. Common causes of embezzlement, again, are pressing financial problems or simply because they have access to money and the ability to hide any discrepancies for some time. Banks are often easy targets. Banks have long, banks have long been embezzlement targets, but the advent of computers has made the crime both easier to commit and more lucrative. The salami is a technique whereby the embezzler, will open up a phantom account in his or her name and slice off a few cents from the large number of accounts of whose owners are hardly likely to notice. Okay, sorry. Fraud is theft by trick. That is, so I'm just going to explain it a bit. That is obtaining money or property of another through the deceptive practices such as false advertising and impersonation. So examples of fraud include dishonest telemarketing, quack medical cures, phony faith healers, cowboy home repair companies, price gouging, etc. Okay. Forgery is the creation or the alteration of documents to give them the appearance of legality and validity with the intention of gaining some fraudulent benefit from doing so. And counterfeiting is the creation or altering of currency and it is a special case of forgery. Okay. So counterfeiting is the creation or altering of currency. Okay, and that's it, guys. So that is lecture 14 for you guys, and definitely I will continue to do these lectures because some of you guys need them. Sound good? See you guys later. Peace.